So last time what we were doing, I gave you a question, design a rectangular column for a load of 2000 kilonewton. What we are going to assume in this question is assume the M30 grade of concrete and Fe 500 steel. This load 2000 kilonewton included both dead load plus live load. Now, what we came to know from the while we were analyzing it for the eccentricity, we came to know that the eccentricity was something above 46 mm, and it was somewhere because the neutral axis was around 46 mm or something like that above from the center of the column. And then we came to know that eccentricity, the maximum eccentricity for in case of this column was how much? 1.1 meter, 1100 mm. You can check it whether it was 1.1 meter or something different. That which we obtained from the design strength. Now, what is important during design is you need to know what is the amount of movement on the column for the eccentric loading to be done. Without movement, you cannot go for eccentric. Now, we have analyzed it for the maximum eccentricity that for which it can be designed, for which this column can be designed. For example, this is the column and you have a beam over it, and this beam is offering eccentric load. It's continuous, it's offering an eccentric load over this column from one of the sides, such that the movement, let this be given in the question, that the movement from the beam there are two things given in the question. One was the assumption that the eccentricity is around 1.2 times d, and it was somewhat near 1.2 times d. Now the movement from the beam, let there be two values. In case one, let the moment be 25 kilonewton meter from the beam, and in case two, let this be 125 kilonewton meter. That means when I'm talking about the movement from the beam, this is the column that you have, and then there is a beam, there will be a certain amount of moment transferred from the beam. Similarly, it will be same here. If this is 25 kilonewton meter, this will be 25 kilonewton meter because this is the joint. Now, if this is positive, only the designation, this will change. If this is positive, this will be negative. If this is negative, this will be positive here. Otherwise, it's the same. If this is positive, this is positive, sorry. Then now the movement from the beam is 25 kilonewton meter in the first case, 125 in the second case. Now, what do we do to analyze it? We have already solved the step number 1 of this question, step number 1, 2, 3 of this question. And what we have obtained the longitudinal reinforcement. We have done those steps and we have determined the longitudinal reinforcement of this B column. This is the column cross section, and this is the longitudinal reinforcement. Over the beam. And you know, these are 16 mm bars now. These are 20 mm. So the end ones, these all, these ones, they are 20 mm, and these ones are 16 mm. Now in this case, we have also determined, because it was given in the question that you had the tie stirrups given like this, and the other one was given the cross tie at the center. We are providing, they are all being provided in 8 mm right now. Now, our first thing is, how do we determine the moments, sorry, the eccentricity in the beam? And it's very easy to determine the eccentricity in the beam now, because, sorry, in the column, that would be Ex would be mx by Px. While we are determining the x direction, this is the x direction. Our Ex would be, for first case, it would be 25 kilonewton meter. So it would be 25 into 10 raised power 3. Let it be divided by, this is 25 kilonewton meter divided by, this is 2000 kilonewton. So that would be 25 by 2000 is 0.0125. And this is in meters. When you convert it into mm, it's 12.5 mm is the eccentricity that you are getting here. Now, any one of you who recalls what is the minimum eccentricity that you require as per code? Yes, any one of you? How much is the minimum?
12 mm.
Right? Kitna?
So 20 mm, sorry sir.
20 mm.
Or 0.5 D.
Yes, but at least it has to be minimum 20 mm. So now this eccentricity Ex here is less than 20 mm in this case. And then mm, just a minute. So Ex is less than 20 here. Thereby, it's not a major case of eccentric loading. So the first case, जो हमने concentric design किया, that's enough for the first case. In the second case, the moment given is 125. So let's go to the second case. This was first case. In the second case, Ex would be mx by Px, that is, so this is 125 divided by 2000. So this is around, this is coming to be 62.5 mm. So in the second case, we are getting 62.5 mm. But how much is the maximum capacity at which the design strength of जो हमने इसकी डिजाइन स्ट्रेंथ निकाली उससे हमें ये पता चला its maximum capacity of taking the eccentric load is around 1.1 meter. So this design is sufficient even for this case. But at the same time, we also need to know, besides being safe, whether the design is safe, there is another way to know whether our design is safe. That's through the design interaction curves. And on based on two things. First, जो हमने केस वन अभी पढ़ा दैट वाज फॉर मैक्सिमम एक्चुअल कंप्रेशन, और जो दूसरा केस है दैट्स फॉर maximum eccentricity. Whether the design is safe, we have to check whether the design is safe for both these scenarios. Now, in scenario number one, you had larger amount of load and the movements were lesser. In case two, the load is same, but the movements are greater. So for case one, the existing design done through concentric loading was enough. In case two, we have to go for check. Now, जो हमने last time किया, it would be very difficult for someone to go through all that process to check whether the design is safe or not. So there is a way out to that. That's provided through design curves, and they are given in SP16. Let me open SP16. Now, this is SP16. This is the design aid for reinforced concrete to IS456. These are design aids. If you go from page number, there are design charts for flexural loading and other things. Now, because we are right now concerned for compression loading, for compression members, first of all, you are following E minimum, then actually loaded columns. This is the methodology. What you adopt is that you calculate first the E minimum. Now that you have already calculated, then for combined axial load and uniaxial bending, the stress blocks that we studied the last time around, then comes the construction of interaction diagram. Now, this is the method that you can use for to check whether your design is safe or not. The design charts for combined axial compression and bending are given in the form of interaction diagrams, in which curves for PU by BD FCK versus MU BD square FCK are plotted for different values of P by FCK, where P is the reinforcement percentage. So now these are the charts. These are the charts starting from here for FY 250. Our question is for FY 500, but then something else is also given here related to when it's FY 500. You also need to check this. This is for axial compression. Now, compression with bending, the case that we have for case number 2, rectangular section, reinforcement distributed equally on two sides. Now, hamara case be it's somewhat like this. But is our D dash FY 250? No. FY 250, FY 250, no. These are all 250. This is FY 415, 415, 415. So we'll look for the chart which is got compression with bending, reinforcement on two sides distributed equally, like in this case fy 500 hai. Now d dash by d dash is our 58 mm. We have already calculated it last time, 58 mm, and d is our 600 no, d is our 350. So this would be 0.16. So not this graph will not be used. 0.16, this is 0.1, this is 0.15. So this one is the closest to 0.16. Then you have 0.2. So you will be using this chart: compression with bending, rectangular section, reinforcement distributed equally on two sides like this, and d dash by d is near to 0.15. Now, what are these charts? You have a chart which has PU. PU is your actually the load. It's with respect to MU, which the moment. So these are the P to M interaction curves, the load to moment interaction curve. So FCK BD square has been used such that the curves are normalized about both the axes. Now in this case, these all curves, यहाँ पर आपको you would see that you have P by FCK here. P by FCK के values है. That's the percentage of steel to FCK, starting from 0 up till 0.26 here. And then this is from this chart, what you are getting is you are getting different curves. You can, if you know the amount of, if you let me try to explain. Let me shift this to so what you are getting here is that you are getting a theoretical maximum axial compression you already have. How did you get that? You got that from जो आपने formula use की last time, 0.4 FCK BD plus 0.67 FY minus 0.4 FCK into ASC, that was equal to PU. Apart from that, you also have from code IS 456. In IS 456, if you go to the compression behavior, what's given in IS 456 is that if you have a member subjected to combined axial load and biaxial bending, the resistance of a member subjected to axial load and biaxial bending shall be obtained on the basis of assumption given in 39.1 that I have already explained these assumptions, and 39.2 with neutral axis so chosen to satisfy the equilibrium of the load and the moments about two axes. Such members must be designed by following the following equation: mux by mux1, where mux is moment about x and y direction due to design load, and mux1 and muy1 are the maximum uniaxial moment capacity जो हमने capacity last time निकाली by analysis for an axial load of pu obtain bending about x and y axes respectively. Alpha n is related to pu by puz, where puz now is, what is pu? We have already studied this. Pu is 0.4 fck ac. We have used it in concentric loading, actually concentric loading. Puz is the maximum load that it can take. This is the minimum design load that it can take. This is the maximum design load for which it can be designed. This is PUZ is 0.45 FCK into AC plus 0.75 FY into ASC. So it's greater than this 0.65, this is 0.75, this is 0.4, this is 0.45. So PU by PUZ will always have value less than 1. For value of PU by PUZ equal to 0.2 to 0.8, the values of alpha n vary linearly from 1 to